My journey's been amazing. I came to Ghana, came to Africa for the very first time in 2017. And I only came to Ghana really to check coming to Africa off my bucket list. I almost died in the U.S. I had a near-death experience, and I wanted to come to Africa before I died. And so a friend of mine was coming here, and I decided I wanted to come with him. So I jumped on board and came to Ghana. And when I got here, I fell in love with being here, and I realized this is where I want to be. And I've been here, living here ever since, and I'm nothing but happy with my experience in Ghana.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Clemido. As usual, we're in the diaspora transition. We have our father, our brother, everything, Nana with us, Kwame Litoto. And however, he's no more Kwame Litoto. He has been installed in Ghana as a chief. So he is Nana Nokwafo, the first of Cape Coast. Nana,
Yeah.
welcome to Ghana, West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us your journey about coming to Africa.
My journey's been amazing. I came to Ghana, came to Africa for the very first time in 2017. And I only came to Ghana really to check coming to Africa off my bucket list. I almost died in the U.S. I had a near-death experience, and I wanted to come to Africa before I died. And so a friend of mine was coming here, and I decided I wanted to come with him. So I jumped on board and came to Ghana. And when I got here, I fell in love with being here, and I realized this is where I want to be. And I've been here, living here ever since, and I'm nothing but happy with my experience in Ghana.
Oh, that's amazing.
Beautiful.
Well, you said you wanted to die in
No, I didn't want to die.
You know, like,
oh yeah. When I do die, when I do die, I wanted to be here.
You want to be in Africa, right? So you were sick before you came to Africa.
Right.
Right. So as you were on your sick bed, what was running into your mind?
Well, at that time, I was 61 years old, and my life was really, really good in the U.S. And I've accomplished everything I really wanted to accomplish. I raised my children, and I got myself together spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And I didn't think it was a bad time to die for me. I was ready to go. I had a physical challenge, and my body was shutting down. And so I was at peace with myself. And what happened was, I started thinking about all the things I promised myself I would do that I hadn't done. And one of them was to come to Africa. And it was amazing because when I thought of coming to Africa, I remember thinking to myself in that moment, I remember thinking, my mind was clear. And I remember thinking, I can't die because I hadn't come to Africa. I said, I can't die.
Yeah.
And then I breathed. I hadn't been breathing. I felt like I'd stopped breathing. But when I thought about coming to Africa, I breathed. That motivated me to stay alive.
Wow.
And I breathed, and I got through that experience. And the next day, a friend of mine came to visit me in the hospital. He was talking about coming to Ghana. And he said, I'm going back in 6 months. And I knew that was Spirit bringing him to me, saying, I'm going to go too. And that's what happened. I came here, and I don't know, maybe that was God's way of getting me home. But that's what happened. And when I got here, I knew it was home for me.
You know, you look so happy from the look of things, how you are sitting here with me, you are so happy. But fine, tell me the first experience that you had in Africa, and also touching base in Africa. What was the experience?
You know, it's always been good. I've had some negative experiences happen to me as well. But the first moment I came here, the first day I came to Ghana, I think for African Americans, I think coming to the motherland is a critical thing to do. Because we have to reconnect. For me, I had to reconnect with my roots, my history as an African man. And so when I touched down, just getting my feet on the soil of Africa was really a big deal for me. And I mean, it was emotional. I mean, my eyes well up with tears just thinking about it, because how important it was for me to actually come back here and actually to return to the land of my fathers. And so the very first morning I woke up in Africa, I was living in Accra with Brother Ishmael Tete, one of my spiritual leaders, and I was in his house, and a rooster was crowing. Started crowing about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't have roosters in Oakland, California, where I'm from. And so this rooster was crowing, and it was right in my room. Like, and I wake up and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, this rooster's crowing. I'm like, what is going on? And this rooster's just crowing. And I'm like, what's happening? It's like hadn't ever had that. I've never been waking up to a rooster crowing before in my entire life, 60 years. So I get up out of my bed because this thing sounds like it's right in the room. I go to the window, I look out the window, and there's a rooster right outside the window. But Ishmael didn't have chickens. What's this rooster doing in the yard? And the rooster looked right up at me, and he crowed right in my face. He's like, and I started laughing because it was funny because the rooster looked at me like he knew just what he was doing, right? Yeah. So the rooster crowed in my face. I started laughing. I got back into bed and I realized, man, I'm in Africa, man.
Well, was it disturbing you? Or?
It certainly disturbed me. It disturbed me. Initially, I was really unhappy. I was like, what is going on? I was not happy. But after I thought about it, I'm laying there. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, this is why I'm here. Because it's different. This is why I got to come here. And so I had that experience. Rooster crowed in my face, and then goats started making noise, and dogs started barking, and I started hearing all these sounds I'd never heard before.
Right.
African sounds. Well, sounds I've never heard before.
You thought you were in a village.
You know, I knew I was home. I knew I was someplace special. And I thought, man, this is it. You know, this is what it's about. And so, I realized that day, in that moment, that I'm going to stay here. I'm going to come and live here. Yeah. I wanted this. And I told him, I said, I'm going to go get my stuff after my visit and come back. And I did. And I'm really happy to live in Africa. I'm really happy to live in Ghana.
Right. Yeah. So it was a friend that pursued you to come to Africa. You know, I've interviewed a couple of diasporas that normally says that they coming to Africa is a spiritual calling.
Yeah.
How about you? If it is a spiritual calling, can you explain that to us for us to know how is it a spiritual calling for you?
Well, let me give you an example. The first time I visited the dungeons, I had a very spiritual experience. And when I came here, I didn't come here because of a pilgrimage kind of thing. Yeah. Like I said, I came intellectually, I was just coming to check it off my bucket list. I wanted to come to Africa before I died.
Right.
So that wasn't really spiritual, and that was kind of emotional, but you know, that was my motivation. But when I got here, it was spiritual. When I got on the ground, it's like because it's a very spiritual place. So shortly after I got here, I visited the dungeons, Cape Coast Dungeon and the Elmina Dungeon. And I was with my niece in a little tour group. And it was a horrible experience because of all the atrocities that happened there to our ancestors. And I realized that some of my ancestors actually passed through these walls and endured some of this horrendous torture. And we got all the way to the door of no return. And by the time we got there, people were crying and people laying on the ground. It was like a really horrible experience. But I was standing there looking at this little small space and listening to the narrative that the tour guide was giving us. And my spirit was swelling up inside me. My spirit was screaming at me, you returned. You made it back.
Right.
You came back. You know, whatever it was that you went through, it didn't destroy you.
Yeah.
Now you're here. You know, and I started feeling powerful. It's like I just started elevating. It was like I was in that little dungeon space, and my spirit just lifted me up. It's like, you made it. You returned. You returned. I kept hearing it. You returned. You returned. It wasn't like a door of no return. Because I returned.
Right.
You see, and this guy's telling me this is a door of no return.
With full energy.
But I returned. And my spirit is like just swelling me up and just empowering me. And man, I left that place feeling so powerful. I was like, what next in my life? It's like, there's nothing that can stop me. There's nothing I can't do. I've made it back. My spirit made it back. My spirit is here. My spirit is free. My spirit is happy. It was powerful, man. And I've had many spiritual experiences here, but that one.
So can we justify this, that if not coming to Africa, you would have been a dead man?
No, I think I would have lived. But I think the idea that I hadn't come to Africa motivated me to want to live longer.
Right.
Because when I was on that deathbed, honestly, I was okay with dying at that time. One of the things that
you lost all hopes.
No, not really lost all hope, but just that I felt like my life was very successful. I had accomplished a lot of things. I was clean and sober. You know, I went through a period of time in my life when I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And getting clean and sober was one of the things that was important to me, and I managed to get that done. And I was clean. And if I die clean and sober, that's a win for me. And so when I was going through that that physical challenge, I thought about dying. I mean, I'd raised all my children. I'd been successful in everything I ever tried to do,
Right.
and I was happy with it. I wasn't afraid. I'm still not afraid of dying. I mean, we're all going to get out of here one day.
Right.
Really, what's important is how I live before that happens. And so, yeah, dying is not something that it's not the boogeyman to me. It's not something that frightens me.
Well, now that you are in Ghana, I know possibly you have something doing in Ghana. You've had so many experiences, as you said. There are this negative and positive experience about you living in Ghana. Well, I wish you share the negative and also the positive with people that are also coming to Ghana to also know and also get prepared for whatever they are also coming to meet. But I don't know, you coming to Africa, have you made up your mind to set up a business or maybe set up something in order to cater for yourself? Because I know definitely as you are in Africa, you need to also live. You need
Right.
to do something to make some money and so forth. Because I know Africa is full of riches. When you are in Africa, you make a whole lot of money and so forth. So have you per chance established any business that can keep on moving you?
Yes, Africa is rich with business opportunity.
Yeah.
You can make money here, particularly in Ghana. Economic opportunity in Ghana is tremendous. Oh my goodness. Whatever you do in the U.S., you can come to Ghana and do it well and be happy with it. When I first came here, I came here basically to retire. I have a pension in the U.S. that allows me to live comfortably in Ghana. If I don't do anything else in life, I can sit here and enjoy the money that I get and live comfortably. And I can live like bi-coastal. I can be here for 6 months. I can go back there for 6 months. I have a certain amount of freedom that a lot of people don't have. But when you come to Ghana, when I came to Ghana, I wanted to get involved with some things. And so the first thing I did was I opened a restaurant called California Soul Food Kitchen. And I had a really good time in that restaurant. I don't have it anymore. I closed it down. The reason why is because I don't want to work that hard. Restaurant business is a lot of hard work, and I couldn't really get enough people to really help me run it without me having to be there for 10, 12 hours a day. And I don't want to work that hard anymore. So when COVID came, it forced me to shut it down, and then I didn't reopen it. I was having some other challenges, but it was a great business opportunity. I was cooking soul food for people. People were coming from all over for that macaroni and cheese I was making, and some real good California soul food in Ghana because there's a market for it. But there's so much to offer in business here. What I've done recently, I've opened up this. I established the Eden Wellness Foundation. And I established the Eden Wellness Foundation because really what I want to do, what I have passion for, is to galvanize philanthropy. African Americans are givers. And there's a lot of opportunity for development in Ghana. And so I want to help out as best I can. And what I know is I can't afford to do everything out of my pocket. So I can get a bunch of my friends to get together. We can all put $100 a piece together. We can make something really beautiful happen here.
Yeah.
So I organize a foundation to do special projects in Ghana. And that's my mission in Ghana.
Okay.
But it's been bittersweet. Like one of the things that happened to me, and what I like to say to people particularly, is Ghana got independence in 1957. So Ghana's only like 67 years old as a country.
Yeah.
And it's not fair for people to compare Ghana to the United States of America, which is maybe 300 years old. You have a country 67 years old, you have a country 300 years old. It's no comparison.
Right.
So the mistake some people make is they come to Ghana and they want Ghana to be like the United States of America or like Europe or some of the developed countries, but Ghana's not. But the beautiful thing about that is because Ghana's not, there's so much opportunity in Ghana that you don't have there because there's no monopolies on everything. Ghana's like wide open. Whatever you want to do in Ghana, you can do it because it's available because of that reason. So it's a bittersweet thing. If people think that, like sometimes we have lights out, sometimes the water's not flowing.
Yeah, it's almost about 2 weeks now. I've never had water in my house.
You see what I'm saying? That's the bittersweet.
Yeah.
But the reality is the sweet is so sweet. That when you go through the little things that are challenging, for me, man, I'd rather be here because it's so easy. And like for me, when I heard about it, people said, well, you know what, the economics are really good there. If you have a Social Security check, you can live comfortably in Ghana. That's true. Everybody in the U.S. with a Social Security check that's struggling financially can move to Ghana and not have money issues because the transfer is well. And Ghana is very inexpensive to live. Ghana's a better uh, option than moving to the South or maybe to Texas or South Carolina, where people go to that are on a fixed income because their money goes further.
Yeah.
Ghana's a better option to me than that, and so I've enjoyed that part of Ghana. Um, there's some challenges, there's stuff you got to deal with.
Yeah.
But to me, it's being here is way better than not being here.
Well,
There's challenges in the U.S. If you live in the U.S., you got challenges there.
yeah. So since you're in Ghana and also you have a business mind, in your own point of view, if somebody wants to move to from America to Ghana, what is the budget? How many or maybe how much do the person have to have before coming to Ghana? And also in your own point of view, as you were moving to Ghana permanently, how much did you bring to Ghana to start a business?
Well, honestly, it's really about your mindset, not about your money, to start a business.
Right.
You can start a business with no money if you have a strong mindset.
Right.
I came to Ghana the first time in 2017. I think I brought $5,000 with me. And everybody says too much money. You're only going to spend that much money in Ghana. I was here for 5 weeks, and I tried to spend every bit of that money, and I didn't spend it. I took money back. And I tried to spend that money because I came to spend money. I came here to spend money. I was vacationing. I had a 5-week vacation. I rewarded myself.
Yeah.
For 5 weeks to come to Ghana. It's so economically affordable here. So starting a business, it really depends on the business you start, and it really depends on your willingness to walk down the road properly. Because I started a business here with no money. I didn't have money, but I had a desire, I had a good business plan. And if you have a good business plan, people will support your idea.
Right.
See, what we've learned in business is ideas are the currency of the universe. It's really not money. A great idea will sell itself. It'll go somewhere. It's like you have a business right now. Nobody, did you have money? No, you don't have money. You started your own business right here in Ghana, and you're doing well with it. And so I like to let people know that it doesn't take money to start a business. It takes a mindset to start a business.
Right.
If you have the intention and the desire and the willingness to do the work, your business will succeed because you'll get money. And it's like that spiritual truth is that when you take one step, God takes two.
Right.
Right. So what can you do today to start your business? Do that and see what happens. Then what can you do tomorrow to continue to do that and see what happens? That's how you start a business. So I've been very successful in business without money. I don't have money.
Well, Nana Kwame Nkrumah the first.
Right.
I know you are a Safuhe in at Ghana or maybe in Ghana, Cape Coast for science, right?
Mhm.
So tell us about your installments. How were you installed, and why did you accept to be a sub chief in the Cape Coast enclaves?
That's a really good place to go. When I first came to Ghana, I lived in Accra, and I lived in a house with Brother Ishmael Tete, and Ishmael is Ga by culture. And so I was learning to speak Ga, and I was up there and I was meeting with all the Ga people and Ga chiefs, and a couple of the people there were asking me about the installment. I didn't know anything about being installed. The first time someone started talking to me about being a chief and getting installed, and actually they started calling me Nana. I would go to the art center, they'd call me Nana. I didn't know what Nana meant. I thought that's what you call your grandmother in the United States, Nana.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not Nana. But they were giving me this stuff, and it's a learning process for someone who doesn't understand. It's really a lot to learn here. And so I wasn't ready at that time. My first year here, I wasn't ready for anything like that, but I got exposed to the chieftaincy there. And then when I came to Cape Coast, to the Central Region, and I started working with Rabbi Kohen Alevi, and we started the Asebu Pan African Villiage project. And I went to Asebu, the village of Asebu, to launch this project with Rabbi, and it started becoming very successful. And I met the kings there, and they started asking me about installment in Asebu. And that's kind of when I really started learning more about the idea of being a chief or a Sapohen. And they were talking about Nkosohen there. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that either. And so then when I got to Cape Coast and I opened my restaurant, one of the other guys came, another diasporan came named Baba Victor.
Yeah.
And he had a literacy program he wanted to run. And he asked me if he could bring it to the restaurant. I said, sure, you can bring it to the restaurant. So he started running this literacy program at the restaurant every Friday with boys in Cape Coast. And it got really big and very successful. Before you know, we had over 100 kids coming to the restaurant every week. And they were getting fed and they were getting taught literacy and values and learning to read and write Fonte. And so people started coming around seeing it. And that's when the chiefs in Cape Coast started coming to me about installing me in Cape Coast.
Right.
And what made me decide Cape Coast was that I met Asebu, the king of Cape Coast, and he was just such a beautiful man. I really admired his humbleness and the way he respected me. The first time he met me, he shook my hand, and he was so respectful of me. And this was a king, the king of Cape Coast.
King of Cape Coast.
And I'd seen him the year before at Panafest, and realized how powerful he was. Like, he's a big man. But he was so he didn't even know who I was.
You weren't so low.
But he was just a beautiful person. I thought, man, I like this guy. And so when I got the restaurant, I actually moved to Cape Coast, and people started asking me about installing me there. I accepted that primarily because I admired the king there so much. If I'm going to be on somebody's team, I'd want to be connected to Asebu, Waiti out of the second, the king of Cape Coast. And so I'm steward of Sapohan in Cape Coast. I love that. It's a lot of respect. It's a big honor for me. It's a lot of responsibility. I take it very seriously. And I'm really enjoying the learning in that as well, because learning the local governance as in the chieftaincy is where we come from. It's our history. It's who we really are as African people. This is how we got down. You know, before the European came and colonized Africa, this was our governance. And we created great kingdoms there. We created great history there. And so I think it's something that of extreme value. And so I honor it tremendously.
Right. I just want to ask you a follow-up question about Asebu Pan African Village. I know Asebu Pan African Village is a very popular place in Ghana and also in the diaspora. But I think you working there, I don't know how long you've been working there. How long have you been working there, and what was the experience?
Well, I've been a part of the Asebu Pan African Village from its inception. The idea was coined. The king of Asebu decided during the year of return to give diasporians land in his community to encourage us to return home. Inspired by the president of Ghana, which I must say the year of return was a big deal. I don't think people talk about 2019 enough. What happened in 2019 was phenomenal. The president of Ghana going abroad, inviting Africans all around the world to come back to Africa was something amazing. And you were here. Ghana was literally on fire in 2019. People were coming every day. It was like plane loads of people coming to Ghana. Africans from all over the world were coming here. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so the king of Asebu was inspired by that. He said, hey, man, they really want to come because people come back crying. It's a very emotional thing to come home. See, if you've never been taken away, it's like somebody kidnapping your child and taking your child for 100 years, and that child finally escaping and coming home, and never knowing their family, and then come home and they meet their family for the first time, and they see it's a big deal. And so the king, he decided that he would give us land. He said, listen, I'm gonna give you guys some land over. If you really want to come back, let's make it happen. And so he contacted Rabbi, who contacted me and asked me to go check it out, and I went there on his behalf and checked it out and found that it was a really good idea. So we put together a program, and it's been very successful. Just for me, a phenomenal thing to be a part of. And it hasn't been without its hiccups. We've had our ups and downs. We haven't done everything perfect. It's been some negative things that have popped up. But here's what I can say: everybody that's come has gotten their land. No one has been scammed and not gotten their land. Now, we didn't do the indentures well originally, and our indentures had to get recreated because people's indentures weren't proper. Some of the paperwork had to be readjusted. These are kind of the growing pains that come with a developing country like Ghana. Some people's names were misspelled. You see on their paperwork. To me, that's small stuff. But for coming from a Western world, it's a big deal because over there, if your name is not spelled correctly, it doesn't mean anything. But in Ghana, that's not the case because you misspell names all the time. They just draw a line through it and write it the proper way and keep it moving. But people aren't accustomed to the way things are done here, so they freak people out. But To date, I think maybe about 800 people have come and secured land there, and there's about 20 people who actually live on the ground right now every day, and about another 30, 40 people that are building their homes every day. And if you go to Asebu Pan African Village, you see a beautiful experience going on there. And in spite of all the negative criticism people say about it, it really is a very successful, beautiful project. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. And I've seen all the negative stuff that people have put about it. It's like whenever you do something good, there's going to be some adversity around. There's going to be some people that are going to try to knock it down.
Right.
Anytime you do anything that's really, really good, especially people of color, we're going to get attacked. We're going to get assaulted. You can expect that to happen. And I think sometimes you just have to consider the source of things, right? When you hear negative stuff about stuff, consider the source. Because if you go to Asebu and see what's happening there, I'm sure you'll be nothing short of really impressed with it.
Well, I'm so impressed with whatever is happening in Asebu, with the buildings, the projects, and everything that is going on in Asebu. But you being the forefathers of Asebu, let me put it that way, because you've been there since we established here, the Asebu Pan African Village. There are instances where, let me put it this way, some diasporas, some Ghanaians, when diaspora from America or maybe UK buy land from them, they intend to go and sell the land to another person. So you being the forefathers of Asebu Pan African Village, if those things are happening, what are the things that you guys are taking in place to stop those people that are doing that kind of devious businesses?
Fortunately in Ghana, for anybody to sell anything, there's a process that you have to go through. The challenge people have is sometimes Black Americans, as you guys like to call us, we call ourselves African Americans, I call myself African, will come here and not respect the process, not do the necessary due diligence, not allow people to help them get things done. If you go slow, see, real estate is never something you can do in a hurry. It's not something you don't go buy land and come here in 5 days and think you can get a land deal done in 5 days. It's going to take more time than that. You need to let somebody that's been here help you. One of the challenges we have, particularly as African Americans, is we become very independent. We have a lot of confidence in ourselves. We think we can do things ourselves. So we don't really ask for help or get the necessary assistance that we can get when we do things.
Right.
And so if you come to Ghana, this is not the U.S., this is not the United States of America. Things are done differently here. There's all kind of little pitfalls here that they don't exist there because of the checks and balances we have in the U.S. don't exist in Ghana. So when you come to Ghana, you have to come to Ghana and understand there's a different way of doing things in Ghana. Right. Don't come to Ghana and think you know how to do everything by yourself. Let somebody who's on the ground in Ghana, who you can trust and respect, help you. Okay? And the problem is people don't do that. They come here by themselves. They want to do everything themselves. They don't tell anybody what they're doing.
Right.
And they have challenges like that. But there's a system in place. You have to go to the land commission. You have to do the research on the land, find out who owns the land, who's registered at the land commission to sign off on that land. You see, because if that person doesn't have their name on your document, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Right? Yeah. But if you don't do that, you can run the risk of have somebody scam you for land. But if you do the necessary due diligence, that doesn't happen. The problem we have is we don't go through the necessary process.
Right. Well, Nana, I think I need to ask this critical question.
Sure.
And maybe I might offend certain people, but everybody watching me should permit me to ask this question concerning Asebu, because this is the time for me to talk about Asebu. It's just a simple question that I want to ask Nana. Okay. I know Asebu is a diaspora community. Even though there are Ghanaians over there, there are diasporas over there, but I know Asebu is purposely for diasporas. But when you go to Asebu, there's no unity over there. This person doesn't talk to this person. This person doesn't talk to this person. It's like a zone.
Unity among who?
The diasporas.
Okay. Well, let's get clear.
Okay.
First of all, Asebu is not a diasporan community.
All right.
The program was written, and I was at the table when the program was written. We purposely put in the program that at least 25% of that land has to go to local Ghanaians because we didn't come here to separate ourselves. We didn't come here to be out on our own. We came here to connect and reconnect with our culture and our roots, and we can't do that just among ourselves.
Right.
We're not going to learn a language if there's somebody else at the table. I'm only going to learn a language when I'm speaking to somebody who can speak the language.
Right.
I'm not going to learn a culture if there's nobody that understands the culture in my presence. So the Asebu Pan African Village was purposely written to be inclusive. It's not a diasporan community.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
Yeah, that is what I said. I just want to label it.
So
Because it involves the Ghanaians
right.
and also the diasporas.
And then we have some growing pains because here's something that's really true that people should know. When we first came up with the idea, we were so excited about the idea that the chief wanted to give us land. And I'm at the table. They said, okay, we got this 100 acres of land. You guys can have whatever you want to do with this land. And sure, there was some resentment from local Ghanaians at the time because some of them had been here all their lives and nobody had ever given them land, right? And so now they give us this land, and what makes us so special? Why do we get to have land?
Right.
Well, the chief said, well, these people have been displaced, and you know what we went through in chattel slavery and trying to bring us back, and we had the dialogue, but it was some real conversation happening at the table, okay? And we had these plots of land, and I'm the person that drew out the original plan. They said, we're going to do this 100 by, we're going to make 100 by 100 plots. And they said, well, why do they get 100 by 100 plots? That's a big plot of land. When they buy land, they only get 80 by 80.
Yeah.
So as a local Ghanaian, if you buy land, you're only going to get an 80 by 80 plot. If me, I'm a diasporian, I'm going to get a piece of free land. My land is going to be 100 by 100. Why is my land bigger than your land? I'm not even paying any money. And these are questions that people are asking, I think, made sense, right? Because we have to respect everybody's feelings. Everybody's important at the table.
Right.
You see? And so we started we had to rethink some things. We had to really, it was trial and error. Because we don't want to come here and disrespect the local people that are already here.
Absolutely.
That's not something that we come to do.
So we don't want to also disrespect you guys too.
So those are things that we have to work out amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But the reality is we've been assaulted for the last 400 years with a strategy called divide and conquer. We haven't overcome that divide and conquer strategy. We've been pitted against one another for 400 years. So now we're at the table. Now the idea is we need to reunite ourselves. We need to come back together, put our strength together, and learn to work together. We've never done this before. We've never done this before, Noah.
Yeah.
So we don't have any experience with this. We don't have any knowledge of how to do this.
Right.
So we're bumping along with, but it's happening. I don't see division when I go out there. Personally, I talk to everybody out there. I love everybody out there. There's a lot of people out there doing a lot of great work. And to me, the most beautiful thing about Asebu is not the land. It's the quality of people that are coming to the land. If you go there and meet the people that are coming there, because it takes a certain mindset just to come to Africa as an African American or someone from the UK. It's a certain mindset.
Right.
That would bring, because most Africans don't value coming back to Africa. Because they've been taught not to value it, taught not to respect it, taught that everything is bad, everything bad is here.
Africa.
So when you find people coming back, there's a certain mindset that those people have to come back with.
Right.
And you go to Asebu Pan African Village, you find a bunch of those people in one place, and it's powerful. Okay. And we have great meetings out there. We don't always agree with each other. We don't always agree. That doesn't mean we're not unified. We have meetings. We argue. We talk about the HOA. We talk about things like what we're going to do, how we're going to build the infrastructure. We might have 10 different ideas. We got to figure out how to navigate that. We got to process. So we're not disunity. We're not unified. We just don't always agree. And some of us are more passionate than others. And the part of it I've just talked about, we have such strong-willed characters, right? Everybody there is a powerful person, so they can express themselves like a powerful person. So we have some very interesting conversations sometimes. And it's beautiful. We go at it and we get it straight. But when you go there, you come to one of our HOA meetings, you see us sitting together at the table, and it's beautiful. I'm honored to be a part of it. It's not something that's going to be easy, okay? If it was easy, it would have been done before. This is something that's never been done before in the history that I know of. No. That's how beautiful. This project, Asebu Pan African Village, could be the greatest thing going on the continent of Africa right now.
So, me being a YouTuber, if you guys are having a meeting, am I allowed to also come and join a meeting, being a YouTuber?
If you come to the HOA, executive board and say, listen, I want to come to the meeting, and what is your purpose? If you want to just video the meeting, maybe they'll let you come video the meeting. I don't really think there's anything that we don't want exposed when we meet. I don't see any reason why anybody could come to the meeting. We talk about the real stuff and we deal with real stuff.
Right.
It might be a good idea for a YouTuber to come to the meeting and put it on YouTube so people can see what's really going on there.
Yeah.
That might be the best thing for us because there's so much misconception, so much negative stuff, so much hate. Bunch of haters out there. I've seen so much hate. It's disturbing that. But then I got to consider the source. I got to consider what we're doing. Let me tell you something. Right now, when you look at Ghana, we're in Ghana. 90% of the people here are very poor. There's a reason for that, Noah, right? Because the Western world benefits from the wealth of Africa. The Western world gets a financial reward because the Ghanaians allow the wealth of Ghana to be taken out of here.
Right.
Over $1 billion of wealth leaves Ghana every year. Okay, that goes to Great Britain. But if you split that money up, Ghanaians might have money. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there's colonial powers and special interest groups that don't want to see anything change here. So if we start doing something that makes it that's threatening for that, there's going to be some resistance to that.
Yeah.
It comes from all kind of places. You see, and so that's what you have to expect. And so I'm not surprised by, the negative propaganda that goes out at Asebu, and that's the thing that we have to be able to withstand. But here's what I challenge anybody to do: come to Asebu and see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Come to the Asebu Pan African Village, meet the people there, talk to the people that are on the ground in Asebu. Don't listen to somebody in Florida or somebody in Texas who's never been to Africa, who thinks they're an expert on the Asebu Pan African Village, because that's what you have. You have people that have never been to Africa. Because of the internet now, anybody from anywhere in the world can write anything about Asebu. Most people never even been here. You see the people writing about Asebu, they've never even been here. Small percentage have even been on the ground.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of people that have come out here and not liked Ghana, come out here and not liked Africa, because it's not always going to be a yellow brick road, Noah. There's going to be times you have to go through stuff, and if you don't have the fortitude to go through stuff, it might not be good, right? Then you'll leave with disgruntled and have a negative opinion about it, and say a bunch of bad stuff about it, because it wasn't for you. And God bless you, right? But for someone like myself, who's just really, really happy to be here, and I understand the bitter with the sweet, as we say back home, that there's going to be peaks and valleys wherever you go. Things are not always great in the United States of America either. Okay, things are not always great in the United States of America. Trust me.
And don't bring United States to Ghana. Right?
Listen, the company that written. I'm from California.
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley High School. I love Berkeley High School. I love Berkeley. You see, I lived in Oakland for 40 years. I love Oakland, California. The only place I've ever been to that I love being more than Oakland, California is right here in Ghana. Okay?
Yeah.
And I love being in the Bay Area. I love the Bay Area. It's a beautiful place. But you know what? I was burying children every week there.
Yeah.
The murder rate is high. African American boys getting killed every week there. 2 or 3 murders a week. That's something that's unheard of here in Ghana. You see? And so everything's not perfect anywhere you go. Yeah. Wherever you go, you got to deal with some stuff.
Right.
Wherever you go, you're not going to get away from dealing with stuff.
The negativities is everywhere.
So you come to Ghana, you come to Asebu, well, maybe your name is misspelled on your indenture. And Ghana moves slow. Now, I will say this. Ghana moves very, very slow. You're going to develop patience in Ghana because it takes a long time for things to change, a long time for things to happen in Ghana. We don't have systems in place. Like you go to the doctor, they don't have a network in the hospital where you put information in one word and everybody has access to it through the whole hospital. I see typewriters. People are using typewriters. That's outdated technology, okay, in the Western world. But that's what we have here. So it's way different. Right. And a lot of people just can't handle that part of it because it's different. It's like you're used to having things done instantly. Then you come to Ghana, it's not going to be instant.
Right. So just as you are hearing what Nana is saying, when you are coming to Ghana, the first thing you need to pack is your patience. You pack it in your bag. The moment you get to the airport, the Kutuka International Airport, you drop it first before you do any other thing. So you pack your patience. That's the first thing you need to come or maybe to pack when you are coming to Ghana. Now, I think next week is the Fetu Afashe.
Yeah.
You being a Safohene,
Mm-hmm.
a sub-chief of Cape Coast.
Right.
Can you just tell us a small history about the Faithful Affection and also the preparation towards the festival?
The festival is actually the biggest event of the year in Cape Coast. It's really, really a big deal. Every year in Cape Coast, we have this festival. Every community has a festival every year. That's part of the culture of Ghana. Every area, they're going to do a festival every year. So the first week of September every year is the Cape Coast Festival. Febtu Afeshe. It's got a great history, and all the chiefs come out. It's a 7-day process. Starts Sunday, actually 8 days, Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Events going on all day,
Right.
and it's a lot of rituals. On Friday night, they do the starting of the board. They go to the lagoon and they worship the ancestors and they get the blessing of the ancestors, which really was what it's all about. It's about getting the blessing of the ancestors. It's the deities, the gods that we worship.
Yeah.
We take a week to worship our gods and pray to them and get their blessing to have a wonderful next year.
Right.
So really, that's what the festival is all about. It's coming up next week. I'm quite excited about it. The highlights are all the chiefs dress up on Saturday. We have what we call a Durbar, and all the Sappho companies parade all through town. We put on our colors. We put on our dress. We're gonna have our kente, and we dress up, and it's just an amazing event. And so we walk all the way to the fairgrounds. This year, the Asante Hene, the king of Kamasi, is coming, which makes it a really big deal. The Asante Hene is one of the biggest kings of all times in Ghana. The Asante Hene is big, so he's coming down to celebrate with us. The president of Ghana will be down here, so it's going to be a lot of security going on. The whole place will be on its ear. And for me, it's a lot of work because as a sub chief, I got to do the grunt work. So they tell me go there, and we get us up together. And so I'm quite excited about it. This is going to be my third one that I participate in as a chief.
So what's your role? Being a Safoni, what's your role on this festival?
Okay. For this particular festival, my role is we wanted to redo our shrine. So we put a remodel project on our shrine, which myself and 5 of the chiefs were involved in doing that. We got it 99% completed. We're not finished yet. We got to paint it. We got to get the shrine done. And we're starting another project with that little area around our shrine. That was my particular role for this festival, to get that done. And it's been good. We want to, because Cape Coast wants to put on a show for the whole world to see. Anybody comes just to see this magnificent event. And because we're having such big time people coming, the royalties coming here, we really want to make ourselves look good. So the whole city of Cape Coast is getting cleaned up, getting shined up. They're polishing Cape Coast right now.
Right.
So when you come to the festival next week, you'll say, wow, Cape Coast knows what they're doing here.
So in case somebody wants to come to the festival, what's the dress code?
There's really no dress code for the people that come. For me, I have to stay dressed in royal every day. I have to show up like a king every day. And I have to wear my colors. Our colors, particularly the Sappho company number 5, is lime green. So for that week, I'll have on lime green gear in white. I'll have my gear lime and green and white every day, and it'll be spectacular. And I'll be part of that procession. It'll be really special. It's really an honor for me to come and be represented like that. It's really a special honor for me.
Well, my last 2 questions that I want to ask you, then we close this interview. It's kind of critical question that I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in Ghana for more than 6 years.
7 years.
Yeah, so more than 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 years, right? So you might have tasted Ghanaian food. You might have seen so many things in Ghana, so many languages in Ghana. At least you are able to speak some and also understand some. The first question I want to ask you, which food can you prepare in Ghana?
Which Ghanaian food?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a cook. For me, I came to Ghana. I cooked professionally for 20 years.
Okay.
So I'm a very good cook.
Yeah.
I can cook anything there is to cook. I don't know, we might need to edit this. I try not to cook, and particularly around my home, around any woman around me, because I cook really well. And if I cook, then they'll get insecure about their cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So if I cook, then my wife won't cook, so I can't cook. The only thing I don't cook, I don't cook fufu. I don't know how to. I've never pounded fufu.
Yeah.
But I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've given the opportunity. I can cook fufu. And what I love is my wife will not let me cook. But and my kids, My kids will tell their mom, "Let daddy cook." so, so it's an issue. I don't want to be on camera talking about this today because I cook, and so that's. But I can cook all the local dishes, the fish, the stew, I don't do the okra stew because I don't really like okra.
Okay.
But anything else, I can cook it all. I'm a great cook,
Okay.
and I love local food. My favorite food I think here is light soup. I like the light soup with the fufu. My wife does really good light soup, but she puts a lot of cabbage in. I'm a cabbage eater, so she does light soup with a lot of cabbage, and that's probably my favorite food. I'm not much of a meat eater. I really just eat a little bit of fish, and I've become more and more vegan. I've embraced my Hebrew culture now, and I'm becoming more vegan every day, and so my diet has changed tremendously. But I'm a very good cook, Noah.
In Ghana, for me, I'm all that with that. I eat everything, I consume everything.
Great food in Ghana. Great food. I love the Ghanaian food. I love it.
Right.
I love the pepper. The peppers here. Yam balls. Woo. I love the yam balls. Really good. Yeah. So.
That's good.
I'm enjoying.
Well, the last question is about language.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're in a Fanti community.
Right.
So you might have heard so many Fanti words that you understand. So if you can just tell us 5 Fanti words, you explain it to the diaspora that are watching you all over the world, so that when they also come to Ghana, they will start using those words in Ghana. Mm-hmm. So 5 Fanti words, and you explain it in English.
So, Madasi. Madasi is thank you, and that's a good word to have in your vocabulary, because Ghana is a lot about respect and a lot about protocol, and so people expect you to say things like please and thank you. So, in greetings, apume. People say how are you? You say boko, or you say nam yaron. By the grace of God, I'm well.
Right.
I think it's important to have greetings, and so learning a language is really a big deal for me. I'm working on a language right now. Yes and no, Dabi. Dabi is no. You have to know how to say Dabi, because you're gonna have to. People are gonna ask you for money.
You say Dabi.
Dabi.
Yeah.
So there's other words like that. But here's what I want to do. I'm glad you asked that, because while you ask me that question, I'm going to pull something out, Noah, that you don't know what I have in my bag for the people.
Right.
Let's see. Here's a book. It's called Learn Fanti Grammar, and is written by Kwame Toto.
That's you.
That's me. I created a book, a Fanti language book for myself, to help myself learn the language of Fanti. And I offer this for $5 for anybody that comes to Ghana. You can get a book with all the words right here and help yourself learn, because I think learning a local language is very important in Ghana. And the challenge is this, Noah. There's so many different languages here that are spoken in Ghana.
Right.
Like when I first came to Ghana in Accra, I was living in my brother Ishmael Tete's house, and he's Ga. So the Ga language, I was learning to speak Ga.
Yeah.
And Ga is very different. Ga is hard to learn. Mm-hmm. I must say that Ga is all the languages. Ga was the hardest for me to learn was Ga. So I started learning Ga, and then I joined the African American Association of Ghana in Accra. And when I got there, they said, no, you can't learn Ga because Tree is the most viable language, because more people speak Tree in Ghana. So they said they had a Tree classes. We're gonna put you in. So I started trying to learn Tree. Right? I started learning Ghana. Then I went to start learning Tree. Then I moved to the Central region. Now it's Fanti. Yeah. So now I got to try to learn Fanti.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm learning right now? Hebrew, which is another cultural language.
So that means if you are learning Hebrew, you need to start learning Ewe language.
Ewe language? It's close to Hebrew?
Yeah, it's close to Hebrew.
Are you Ewe?
I'm Ewe.
Okay, I didn't know that. so there's so many cultures in Ghana. Some languages, Ewe, this was Hausa.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
almost 68 languages
Oh
in
my
Ghana.
God. So the language thing, but here's what I've learned about it. People in Ghana understand all the languages.
Yeah, I can only speak only 12 languages in Ghana.
Yeah. So no matter what culture you're in, people communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Like people from Hausa communicate with LA.
Yeah.
People LA communicate with Fonte.
Right.
Even though language is different, they speak to each other. And I think it's amazing because like I can be like with my wife and somebody will be speaking English, and she'll know if they're Fonte or Hausa or LA or Shanti just by how they pronounce their words.
Yeah.
So she can understand. But it's just, to me, it just sounds like African to me. I have no idea what it is. And so language is a big deal. so get your language up and enjoy it.
Right.
I want to say one more thing before we go.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the Eden Wellness Foundation.
We did. Okay, so yes.
So the Eden Wellness Foundation is a foundation I founded in 2022 to raise money to help do special projects in Ghana and particularly in Africa, not limited to Ghana. Because what I've discovered here is that there's a big need here for us as African Americans to do something special. And so we can put our money together, do some special projects, have a website, EdenWellnessFoundation.com. Go to that website. You see a lot of information there. And if you're so inclined, join us. We're looking for 1,000 people that want to make a difference and do some real special work. So thanks for having me, Noah.
Your final words, in case somebody wants to contact you for any information, can you just put your number out there or maybe your information out there if somebody wants to contact you?
So my email is Kwame A.N. Nitoto @gmail.com and KWAMEAN @gmail.com. And my phone number is +233 024 964 3296. And then, of course, I have the website is EdenWellnessFoundation.com. So anything, also you can also contact my brother Noah here, and he can get through to me if anybody needs to make direct contact with me. If you have any questions about the Asebu Pan African Villiage, if you have challenges with it, I'm a good person to contact.
Right.
I can assist you. If you're trying to do something with real estate, I can assist you. I don't mind helping people. That's what I do. So contact me anytime. I think Ghana's a wonderful place. I've been here now. I've made it my home. I love being here. I think it'd work for anybody that wants to make it work. So.
All right. So guys, as you're watching, I'm so happy you were able to watch our video. And you know what? Keep supporting us. This is our Nana. Whichever information or whatever information that you want to know about Asebu Pan African Village, he's always here to support you guys. So as you're watching, keep supporting his business and also subscribe to our channel too as well.